Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the Bill and Ray Show. I'm out in the torch shop making another marble, and this morning I've had a lot going on, so I'm barely organized, but I'm hoping I can put something together here. Let's get into making a little cane for the centerpiece. That's noisy. I've already been out here for a while setting up, trying to do some prep work, cleaning some glass, doing all those things you start out with. I use isopropyl alcohol to wipe down a lot of the clear glass, all of it that I'm going to use basically. And some people do other cleaning procedures, but that's usually good enough for what I do. So I'm going to do a crossways centerpiece, as I've done quite a few times before. I keep sort of searching for a particular look, and I think I've kind of achieved it in some of the marbles I've done, but so this might be the same process that I've used before, but hopefully it's a little different. Got some ideas in the background to do something that I don't typically do in this type of marble. But we need to start out with just a little blocky section to build up a flat ribbon cane. And it's, well, you'll see. It's not going to be quite a big long cane like you typically try and do. So yeah, I've been busy doing a lot of things this morning, and yesterday was a lot of work. So I'm starting off in this marble a little bit tired, a little bit disorganized. Hopefully we can pull it together. Start trying to make just kind of a little rectangle. And going to heat up kind of where it connects, seems to connect there, and try and pull that out. A little skinnier connection. Okay, trying to get this little piece kind of shaped up. Plain polish, smooth it out a little. Okay, we're going to put some fume on this. Start off with some gold. Give some kind of pauses in between, let that base glass cool down a little bit. It'll stick better when it's good and warm, but not too hot. Okay, quite a bit of gold, and we're going to just throw a little flash of silver on there. Okay. Now, the only color I'm going to use here is this Electrum glass. And I just want to stripe on one edge. Like so. Now we need to carefully build up clear. And we'll encapsulate that edge with the Electrum. Try and start on the end and push a pretty hot gather of clear across that face. And hopefully we didn't trap much air, but if we did, at this phase we can kind of chase that out the ends sometimes, usually. Sometimes if you see areas that just look a little sketchy with this clear glass, we can just skim that off. That thing is kind of slumping. Shaping. Try to get rid of all that fume that spilled around the edges and try and keep the glass as clean as we can here. Okay, at this phase we kind of maintain our blocky square shape, but we need to balance out the clear. So we're going to keep building up this casing on this side. And now we got things kind of stabilized, we can push a bit more heat. Okay, I'm just going to kind of get this end a little more glass and fill out this end into a handle. And then the other side here, we can lose this big rod. Alrighty. Okay, now with our two handles on here, I'm going to focus the heat and work on twisting this up. So kind of keep with some of our basic cane approach of getting just a gentle turn going. And try and get to a cylinder with just a slight twist. Okay. Now, without pulling this out, we want to create lots of twists here. Trying to create kind of an evenly twisted look that's still open enough for my final project criteria. And then I'm going to try and sort of work on getting this a bit more symmetric. It's kind of got a bulge on the right side. Left side has more turns and started being kind of pulled out a little bit. Let this cool down a little bit. I'm mesmerized by trying to get this shape and twist where I want it. And then we're going to remove both the handles, but we have to kind of do this successive. Take one end off. And we're going to remove some material. using kind of just some heat and gravity to pull that back in. Yeah, and then once again we need to let it cool a little bit here. Stick the glass I'm looking for. Let me put a little handle on this end. And I'll take off this other end and kind of repeat. Okay, we're getting towards our core shape that I'm looking for. Now we got to transfer it 1/8 or 90 degrees of this. Alright, we're going to touch down in the middle here. Hopefully knock that end off. I'm not worried too much about that little blip there. Now this is going to go in our little garage. To wait further instruction. Okay, well, that hangs out in there for a second. We need to get our build rod going. So yesterday I was crawling around underneath my riding mower doing a replacement of a main drive belt, which I've never done before, but thankfully to YouTube I got her done. But the belt itself was like $20, and found it on, I get it a lot of places, but I found one on Amazon and had it delivered the next day, which around here we don't get too many next day deliveries. So this is on our John Deere D105 for anyone out there interested in make and model. We bought that probably more than 10 years ago. It's got 450 hours on it, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but that's about 10 years worth of use. And it's seen some hard use. We get out on the fields around here and along the main driveway. This is all pretty rustic, rural territory. Even our so-called yard or lawn is not exactly smooth. So it's seen a lot of action. Our main driveway is a bit of a hill, so it's gone up and down that hill many times. And this was the original belt. It wasn't broken, it was just getting where I didn't trust it anymore. It looked pretty ratty. And I was starting to get some kind of strange rhythmic vibrations that I'm pretty sure were related to that belt. So anyway, it was quite a long day, and I still didn't got the deck off, so with a quick sharpening of the blades, I sharpened them not long ago. And by the time I was ready to put the deck back on, I had to get in and make dinner. So I didn't get it all the way put together to do a real run with it. So after this marble, I'll probably get on that. But got up this morning after a very hot, well, it wasn't as hot last night as the night before. The night before it did not cool off much and kind of miserable. Okay, I got a pretty good gather going here. Cheers, got my iced coffee going. I was feeling kind of wiped out this morning, and then I had a bunch of work I needed to do before I could get out here in the torch shop. So fortunately today is a much cooler day. It was kind of overcast, which is actually kind of welcome. Alright, we're going to introduce our core piece. We're going to turn off our little garage, because it's just heating up the shop. I want a different view of this. Where's my producer? I gotta do all this juggling all by myself. As with a lot of things in glass, keep these things up until things are just about out of control. You don't want things to touch prematurely. If you're bouncing around in the flame, two pieces of glass like this, you're trying to marry them up, but you don't want them to collide. Oh, looks like a crazy hammerhead shark at this point. Now I need to transform from this phase to a cone shape. So this is a bit of a transitional situation. So we try and use the bulk over here on the main rod, that large diameter, to hopefully keep that diameter going. We're using a little bit of gravity, a little bit of a tilt here, focusing the heat bore on the end, letting that kind of pull. You see what I'm doing? Pulling it out. And we may encourage it. At this point we can kind of push in these ends that are sticking out the most. So we're getting that transition going. See that Electrum flashing from this angle. It may not really flash. It's kind of angle specific as to when the effects on that stuff really are cool. Let's see if we can push this larger edge up. Okay, well, we're getting there, getting somewhere. So I can't really describe the look that I've been after. But I've been kind of going this direction with quite a few marbles that haven't really achieved quite the effect I'm trying to do. This one might get close. Let's see if I describe accurately what I want, then I won't be able to claim victory if it's not quite up to my explanation. Alright, now we need a background. And today's background is going to be some multicolor loopy bands. I'm going to start out with a cobalt, or no, I decided this is this turquoisia. That sound right? So we're going to come in with this upon the top edge and drop this down as a band. And I'll probably do that. Try and do a and then I'm going to kind of back that. It needs something to kind of back it so it shows color. So I've got this purple lilac. This is what I kind of had an idea about. And then we got some orange and some red to put down. I'm usually kind of fixated on having completely opaque background, but this one's probably going to have some holes in it. I'm going to do some red. Nasty there. We're going to melt these in and kind of marble them in. Before I get this too far melted in, I'm going to run some black. That's not very helpful. So just kind of keep coming in and filling in some of these lines. Alright, well, it's going to be our background. Warts and all. Flashback heat there. Once in a while you get some flame is deflected, and even though my hand's a little ways out there, it get hit. Alright, well that chewed up a bunch of this color stuff. Oh golly. So, off that, I think we'll do silver fume. And we start building up our backside. So I hope everyone's doing well out there. Anyone hanging in there watching these videos, we truly appreciate all of you. If you drop a comment, that would be great. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really encourages us to keep going. Pretty much all of this work winds up on eBay, and it turns out really well. I tend to put it up as a buy it now. Sometimes I'm asking a pretty good price. Good for me. Last one I actually kind of goofed up and missed my window to start the auction, so I thought, well, I'll just put it up as a buy it now for a pretty good price, and sure enough, somebody scooped it up. So you never know what you're gonna get up there on eBay, but it's a good platform for me. It's worked well for almost 30 years selling on there. So this week I actually was jumped into bed and was just about ready to settle in, and I had this idea, and I thought, well, okay, I'll have to remember that for marble construction, and I thought, you know what, I better get up and write this down. So I don't know whether I would have remembered it or not, but that always annoys me when I have an idea and I don't write it down, and then the next day or the next week or whatever, I'm thinking, it's like, I know I had some idea what I was going to do, and I can't remember. So I wrote this one down, actually. Something that just popped in my head right before hitting the hay. So kind of excited that this is coming together here based on just a silly idea. It sometimes can be a little stressy. I'm not trying to do anything phenomenal here in these videos, but there's a certain amount of pressure I put on myself to come up with a game plan for the week. And it's not really a simple thing. I'm going to cook that layer in before we move on. Keep filling in more clear glass. This is literally just fill. shape changing fill. Takes quite a bit of heat to transform solid borosilicate rod into a flowing glass and putting it down into a new shape. These marbles, and most glasswork in general, kind of a time for me to chill out, listen to some tunes. But there are aspects, to be fair, it's certain things that I do, it's work. Not necessarily what I want to do for that day or that moment, but there's times you got to get her done. I think it's kind of always been there, but there's a lot of people bailing on the glass world these days, selling off all their equipment and glass inventory and giving up on it. I'm not, at this stage of my life, I'm not trying to do this as a full-on living. I'm kind of using this as a supplement income, but it's kind of necessary in my life at this time. I can't just do this for fun. Just trying to have fun while I'm doing it. It's been an interesting experience, kind of having an audience, having a viewer out there at the other end of these cameras, and you never know who's going to see this, what they're going to think of it. And we do appreciate the feedback and anything that helps out our channel. Just an itty bitty channel. We're coming up on 2,000 subscribers, which, at our level of social exposure, it's not bad. My other channel that just shows off the finished marbles, that I really just started that channel originally simply to have an upload space for marble videos, so that when I put the videos up for sale, I had a way to embed a video of the work. So they're not long, they're just a short little 1.5-minute clip of finished work. It's not a lot else on that channel, but it was my original channel, which does have a few glass demo pieces on there, including the one that really kind of got me hooked into YouTube is a pendant video that I did in I want to say 2012. I don't think it had to be before that, but let's just say that's what it was, 2012. And it's got like 1.6 million views on that. And that video alone, back in the day, when that channel, the rules were different. And I did actually get paid $100 from YouTube at one point. And then they changed their monetization rules, and your channel had to perform to a certain level, which mine didn't, because I had nothing but all these little short videos that, there's no talking, no anything much going on, just showing it off. But that channel does have, I don't know, well over 4,000, approaching 5,000 subscribers. So I got some exposure there. So anybody that's crossing over from one channel to the other, that's cool. I kind of missed some of this. So I have the kiln warmed up. I need another heat source in here. So I do have air conditioner in the shop here, but I don't run it while I'm doing these videos, so it's pretty noisy. It wouldn't be terrible, but I've already got the audio kind of tweaked to cut out the lows and the highs and cut down on the noise from the exhaust fan and the torch, and oxygen concentrators are outside that wall, a little lean-to enclosure out there. So you don't hear a lot of that noise from inside the shop, but and I got a fan going underneath the table, and there's lots of sources of noise. So to any of you thinking the audio is kind of sucky on these videos, it's like, well, I went through a lot of different microphones, a lot of different ideas of how to capture the sound, and I've got a directional microphone right at the torch pointed to me, but even if I turn away from it, it makes quite a difference in the audio. The microphone, you're supposed to talk right up close to it. So I don't have the greatest speaking voice, and this is what it is. I actually do some other tricks in post. Like the graphics program has some audio editing features built into it that I can do a little dynamic expansion. I don't do any noise canceling in that. That doesn't work. Yeah, the AI noise canceling just turns the auto track into something horrible. These tools, they might work in many different environments, but this is a uniquely challenging, noisy environment. One of the things about glasswork, and photography of glass and so on. It's not really like other things. This one is not like the other. Okay, kind of just trying to work this in to get that transition between the color and the clear smoothed out as much as I can right now. Then we'll settle this down and go to decorating the back. We're doing good. I'm not feeling too bad. I was a little concerned that I'm kind of achy. Tried to do some stretching and stuff, but my back and my neck just a little tired. Well, I think this one is going to be pretty awesome. A little bit of that Electrum glass goes a long ways. It's fun to throw a little bit of that in there. This is actually still part of a little piece that my local glass-blowing friend Elijah gave me a few months ago. I've used it with several marbles. Yeah, I have to say, I think this is the best approach to the idea that I had. Trying to come up with new ideas for marbles has resulted in making quite a few that are just, you know, by my standard, kind of funky. I'm happy if somebody buys it and likes it. But occasionally things turn out that I'm like, whoa, that's sweet. You kind of never know when you're going to hit that sweet spot. And then the sad thing is I'll try and do another marble just like one that turned out really, really well. And more often than not, it does not turn out as well. It's a weird thing. It's always had that phenomenon. Okay, that was Silver Strike 5. This is Jackpot or Neptune Sparkle. Yeah, I think it's Neptune. We have all the colors that I use in the description below. There's a lot of information in the description below. And then we have some Dragon's Blood. We used this last week. Love this stuff. Yeah, last week's marble was Dragon's Blood. It turned out really nice, gemmy, translucent, transparent color. Could also be related to the kiln cycle, because I've had in the past, doesn't always keep that nice, clean look. Okay, heat these in. Yeah, you'll see in this finished marble, just that one little line of this Electrum glass to get all this effect. You need very little of that glass to do a lot. It's some powerful medicine. Okay, and pull out this focal point. Some piled up glass there. Looking good. Yeah, those colors blended really nicely together, behaved really well. Oh, there it is. Atlantis Sparkle. I think I said Neptune. Yeah, this one's Atlantis Sparkle. And Dragon's Blood and Silver Strike 5. Okay, let's push this along. This is going to be kind of a big boy. Alright, condense down this lens. In theory, I want kind of to end up with equal parts clear and color. Generally winds up favoring the colored side, and with this, how much glass you build up in the lens will affect the vortex. Now, from my perspective, it's always a little hard to see it exactly, but because I have the lynx torch angled down just a touch, it actually, the two torch flames collide out here somewhere, and that combined area is kind of the hottest amount of heat going on. But then of course it bounces around a round object, so you don't get that much of a focal. So anytime you do a little maneuver like that, you get off center in a hurry. That's okay. Okay, so I think we got a good amount of glass in here. The cutoff point is just a little bit, positioned just a bit wrong. Whew, getting warm now. Yeah, basically in this zone here, all the surface glass on the clear rod, it gets bunched up. So whatever impurities or imperfections were in that factory rod, I'm trying to peel that out because it's all kind of built up in this zone. And some of it is just too deep into the glass, you can't really get it all. But if you don't do this, you're going to have a lot of sketchy looking clear on the front face. A little can roller works as an armrest sometimes. Something your other type of rollers, probably not a very comfortable armrest. See what we got. I hope this marble's almost done. I'm running out of iced coffee. As long as these videos are, I'm going to add another 45 minutes or something before that, but I was out here getting things laid out, cleaned up. By the end of this, it's about a 3-hour process. For those wondering how long does it take me to make a marble, it's 3 hours and 30 years of experience. 30 plus years. Yeah, this marble is big. I need to get a 3-inch mold here that can help rough in and shape if I need to. That marble mold is not wiped clean, so it's leaving a few little stars. Okay, just need a rough shape, and we'll transfer over. Unfortunately, a little bit of stuff piling up on here. Just keeping it real here. Sometimes you end up causing your own problems. Kind of fact of life of any surface you're going to marver with. If it's not clean, it can deposit particles and stuff you don't want in the surface of the glass. Okay. Okay, now this transfer will get us to the stage where we can get a pretty much the full shape of the marble is going to get done in this next phase. Normally I kind of talk about how you can only work on half of the marble with that. But I've kind of compressed my workflow down to a minimum of transfers. So really only, that was the first transfer, the second punchy. And I just need to transfer one more time to finish this. Kind of compress this in stages. last move I used some pressure. Let that end kind of closed in. Now it's really just the circumference that needs to fill out. So again, we're kind of on the edge of chaos here. The marble's pretty hot, the puntee is pretty hot. So pretty loose control. The good side about a hot puntee that's wobbling around like that, though, is it's very unlikely to snap free unless the rod itself breaks. So it allows you to actually do some horsing around. Generally do not want to use much force when doing glass work, but there are times when you can get away with some force. And not spend too much time in the marble mold because you lose a lot of heat when it's in that graphite. And got a pretty good shape going on. So now, we're pretty well filled out. We can do a lot of rotations and purposefully cool down, let that core temperature cool down a bit. And we're watching the reflections. And slow for a flame polish. Looking pretty good. So now we just have to wait a moment for that. What's going on here? So when you get this far, you're really kind of just about complete with the shaping. You don't want your marble very hot. You actually want to let it get pretty nice and solid, retain that form. Okay, now we need to make sure to dig out the foreign glass here. That kind of flattens the end. So then we have to kind of do a little adjustment at this point. This is where the end result of the marble, when you actually put calipers on it, it's going to be a touch less from end to end than the circumference. And that's just a result of my process and the way I go through this. It'll be about 0.02 of an inch difference for this size of marble. So it does not meet code requirements for checking the level or smoothness of construction. That's basically all the shaping that the marble mold can do. Now we just need to run some heat, particularly on that very front face. That's usually where most of the little wrinkles and inconsistencies are. And at this point, you want a smooth surface. It doesn't have to be absolutely spherical, but if you get too far off, if you still have wobbles in it, you are looking through an optical lens, so you will see optical anomalies. So we try hard to make sure it's consistent curvature, free of any major dents or wiggles. And one thing that helps is just heat that up, let it cool down, keep rotating, and then do another heat cycle to just kind of flash that surface. And if necessary, you can just kind of repeat this cycling, but I think this is looking good. That should do it. Whew. Yeah, I'm ready for a break. I don't know about you all. Well, I'm pretty happy with it. That Electrum added just the accent that I was looking for. So because I only did it on one edge, it shows up kind of as every other wave. So that's pretty cool. Alright, my little friend. Good to me. Oh boy. Another great marble. Today I had to be very honest. I was feeling a little rough. Wasn't sure how today was going to go. I thought, man, I just hope it goes okay. But it did more than okay. I'd say this turned out really nice. See it in the face cam, but it's looking good. Alright, pop that in the kiln. The kiln can be as hot as it wants to be all day. I'm going to get out of this heat for a little while. So I hope you all have an awesome day. Hope you had some fun watching some of this. Hope you're still here watching this part. I suppose most of you never see this part. But anyway, I want you all to take care of yourselves so that you can take care of others. And let's be kind, and we'll have a great day. You guys have a great day. We'll see you again another adventure another time. Be good. Take care.